Hey everybody, welcome. It's time for that awkward moment where the person who's on the screen is also in the room with you, so you're not really sure where to look. But I wanted to share a couple thoughts with you guys, and I thought that this would be easier. So I'm just gonna read to you what I wrote, and then we'll get this party started. I have tried to write this like 600 times, and each time it just never seems to come out right. How do I thank a room full of people for helping me through one of the most difficult times in my life? Thank you just does not seem to cover it. And come on, do we ever do anything on a small scale? Nope. Me parking in the driveway correctly gets a Facebook shout out, so surely you people hitting the pause on your lives to help us deal with the mess that is ours warrants a party, right? So here we are, celebrating 1 year later. 1 year. Lots of emotions writing this, happiness that it's a year later, some sadness that's probably normal, but mostly gratitude for all of you. So listen, what I have here for you is a timeline of the last year, short and condensed, only hitting the highlights. You ready? Over a year ago, Lori and I strolled into the Duke Clinics for the first time to meet the one and only Dr. Hughes. I went in just assuming that they would tell me the valve would need surgery eventually, but that I was good for the time being. Honestly, never did I expect for him to say that surgery needed to happen. I figured I'm 37, I run constantly. Sure, I consume vast amounts of candy, but open heart surgery? No way. There was a point in the appointment where he said I could wait a few months, and I thought, cool, I can just stroll out of here and worry about this later. But I could feel Lori staring at me, so I asked the question I may regret for the rest of my life. If the risk goes up, why wouldn't I just do the surgery now? And boom, heart surgery was a go. Pretty sure I had just asked for open heart surgery. Walking out of the office, I knew I had to tell everyone. Basically, tell the people I loved that our lives were going to change for a little bit. My incredible parents. I had to tell them that once again I was going to shake up our existence. My sister had to tell her I was going to be the needy one again. And then the hardest part was going to VW to tell Jeremy, and yeah, that went well. I mean, considering he had to lay out on the floor to keep from passing out, bless his heart. Luckily, Jack and I were there to laugh at him. And he is pretty good at handling bad news. I mean, how many times do I have to tell him that I've hit something with my car? I figured he could handle it. And then I had to tell my wonderful friends and the rest of my family. I had to tell the sweetest class ever that I would not finish out the year with them. And then we had to try to find a way to make Indy and Harper understand, in addition to just trying to get myself to understand. I'm Marie Jones, for God's sakes. How in the world was I going to make it through something that would require me to slow down and rest? Almost immediately, everyone around us swung into action to help us prepare in the weeks before the surgery. And I'm a planner, so I could appreciate that. I just couldn't do it myself. That meant admitting that for a short period of time, I was going to need help, lots of it. Asking for help is like hugs. Not really my thing. Luckily, I have this amazing group of friends and family who just handled it, involving me as little as possible. In a matter of weeks, meals were planned, my girls were taken care of, Maria stepped in to take my class. Seems like everyone had a job. It was unreal. I don't think they missed anything. I even had enough outfits for the girls laid out for 10 days after surgery. Their fashion was not going to suffer because of my bad valve. The week before the surgery, there was nothing left to do except cry on the way to work every day, and then enjoy my precious class, love on my girls, make sure Jay was hanging in there, and run those last miles. I was sorta ready. And then, on the final Thursday before surgery, I went to my usual 5:45 a.m. jazzercise class, where I was surprised with a room full of my friends in Team Marie shirts waiting on me, led by the amazing Leslie, who apparently runs a sweatshop out of her house that can manufacture 30+ Team Marie t-shirts. We danced to songs about the heart. She put that much time into celebrating me. I mean, even Susan was on time, and I'm pretty sure that's the only time Carrie has ever seen 5:45 a.m. I'm just saying. On that day, my heart was full, and I knew I was ready. With all these people by my side, how could I fail at anything? I will tell you, walking out of my classroom on that Friday was probably one of the hardest parts. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do it. And because they knew, Ange and Charlotte showed up to walk me out. And although I'm pretty sure I left part of my heart in there that day, I knew I'd be there to get it back at some point. It was Mother's Day last year when I had to go into the hospital. I'll let you in on a little secret. I really had no clue what to expect. I chose not to research anything that would happen in there. Boy, was I in for a surprise. My sister and Jeremy would get me all checked in and comfortable. I think Anik just came to make sure I was actually going to follow directions, boss me around a little bit. That's what big sisters do, right? And then honestly, we needed to get Jay the hell out of there. Lord knows we couldn't be worrying about him passing out. I'm not sure when or how it was decided, because I knew there was never going to be anyone else in that room with me the night before, and the moments before, or when I woke up. The one thing I knew was that it would be Lori. And let me tell you, she kept my spirits up the night before with a tremendous amount of laughter and lightness. She understood my need to just keep things normal. So we laughed, watched videos, took selfies, and just did what we always do. Sadness or fear were not allowed in that room. The only tears I shed were in those few moments right before when they said it was time to go and I had to hug Lori goodbye. And that is one of the only moments she allowed me to be scared. That's it. I got like 2 minutes. And when I woke up, I knew she'd be there, once again to listen to me complain about the tube and the crap still in my hair. She sat with me in those first few moments of confusion right after I woke up. She knew she couldn't take away the pain I was feeling in that instance and in the weeks that followed, but she stayed by my side and helped me learn how to feel it. Because of her, I laughed despite the pain. I smiled despite the uncertainty. And even though we both knew she couldn't solve my problems, I knew she'd never let me face them alone. And clearly, amazingness runs in the family because Uncle G basically stepped in to become Jeremy's handler. And he even got on my case a few times. Yep, the quiet Uncle G can be quite bossy if he needs to be. Like his wife, though, he has earned a spot in the heart of all the Joneses. When everything goes to hell, the people who stand by you without flinching, they're your family too. I was in the hospital less than 1 week, but in there I was never alone. Besides the crazy lady across the hallway, I had a constant vigil of friends from Big Ange to my room mom turned nurse, Mary Peterson. Nothing screams friendship like Big Ange dumping my drainage tubes all over the hospital, binging on HGTV with me, and even hooking me up with some sort of dry shampoo action. Don't judge, my hair was a wreck, and Ange hooked it up. And then there was Becky Kettler, who honestly is probably one of the main reasons this surgery and then recovery went off without a hitch. If anyone was going to handle me in the days following the surgery, it'd be her. She never left my side from the minute I got out of surgery. She was there in the ICU, letting me yell at her for sneaking off to get a Diet Coke. She came to the hospital every single day, was the first one to help give me shots, and then she drove me around in the following weeks, taking me to every single appointment. At first, she was freaking out when I made her take me to Target and to see my class, but then she realized I was never going to relax, which meant she was never going to relax, so we were just a mess together. But the best kind of mess there is. She did eventually have to let me sit in the front seat. That back seat stuff was for the birds. Bex is the absolute best. Indy and Harper will tell you she's their best friend, but I think I'll keep her around as mine as well. And then I came home. Talk about a WTF moment for Jeremy and I. Nowhere for me to sit and be comfortable. 612 medications, and if you followed us at all, medications are not our thing. Jeremy's a trooper. He handled it. He may be worthless in the hospital, but listen, he stepped up in the most incredible way possible. He knew I still needed to be a mom to those two wonderful people. He knew sitting down was not going to happen for me. And he knew that at first, every time I looked at that scar, my heart broke a little. So even though I couldn't go with them to school, he made sure I was there to get them ready every day and that I was up and around as much as possible for them. And he understood that no matter how bored I got, laundry was not going to happen, and I sure wasn't going to cook. It was heart surgery, folks, not a personality transplant. But we made it through, together, with some serious help and other people's home cooking. And at 3 weeks, the staple came out. Life goes on. At 6 weeks, I returned to jazzercise and walking and running because at some point I heard a doctor say 6 weeks. So that was it for me. Life was going to resume to normal at 6 weeks, no matter what. And at 8 weeks, with Jeremy by my side and my 2 girls, I ran my first post-surgery 5K, coming in at just 30 minutes. Completely overwhelming in the best way possible. And then I returned to work 4 weeks early, mostly because me being at home was no good for anybody. And I missed that part of my life immensely. And being back at work reunited me with all my work buddies, especially McCarty, who has the pleasure of dealing with me the most out of anyone. And sometimes I put her in charge of my medications. And finally, the stars aligned, and at 6 months, I ran my comeback half marathon. Crossing that finish line just at 2 hours will forever be one of the greatest moments of my lifetime. And the first person I saw after was Jeremy, my #1 fan. And my parents and some of my best friends were there cheering me on as well. Most importantly, Indy and Harper got to see me crush it. Like, how perfect was that? In that moment, I knew all was right with the world once again. This fixed up heart was gonna do just fine. This past March, I got the all clear from Dr. Hughes. No more leaky heart. I am not sure who was more relieved, me, Jeremy, or my parents. Mind you, the clicking has taken some getting used to, and I could do without these stupid blood thinners, and obviously sometimes I do go without them, but I realize this outcome doesn't happen for everyone. And the scar, well, it still gets me from time to time, but it also makes me look tough. I've kind of made some peace with it. I can't name every single thing that has happened to us in the past year, but please know that collectively, you have all at some point helped us in some way through your kindness, your support, your willingness to take time out of your life to check in on mine, and honestly, just the sheer outpouring of love for all of the Joneses. It was just undescribable. But I know now, a year later, that I would not be here as strong as I am had it not been for all the amazing people that held me up. I've said that heart surgery was not an excuse to give up, and I always knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was going to try to make it look that way. I wanted to show my girls what it looks like to not give up even when life kind of sucks, to smile through the pain, to make the best out of a bad situation, that if they told me 12 weeks, I would do it in 6. And maybe we've had some speed bumps along the way. It happens when you constantly forget to take your medication or listen to your doctor's suggestions. But listen, I'm lucky to be me, and I'm lucky to have all of you. Anyways, back to the grand gesture. Why you're all here? We're the Joneses after all, and when shit gets real, we make videos. So enjoy and get ready for the next chapter of Keeping Up with the Joneses.
It's a beautiful night, we're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares baby, I think I wanna marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. No one will know. Oh, come on, girl. Who cares if we're trash? Got a pocket full of cash we can blow. Shots of Patrol, and it's on, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night, we're looking for something dumb to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares baby, I think I wanna marry you. Oh, I'll go get a ring, let the choir bells sing like ooh. So what you wanna do? Let's just run, girl. If we wake up and you wanna break up, that's cool. No, I won't blame you. It was fun, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night, we're looking for something dumb to do. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice?